what happens between pressing the power button and seeing your desktop or login screen. This process is called the kernel boot sequence, and it happens in just a few seconds. It all starts with power on, where the system firmware, such as BIOS or UEFI, performs basic hardware checks and prepares the machine to boot. Next comes the bootloader, like grub, which locates the operating system kernel on the storage device and loads it into memory. Once loaded, the kernel begins executing. During kernel initialization, it sets up critical subsystems such as memory management, process scheduling, and interrupt handling. The kernel then performs driver initialization, detecting hardware like disks, USB devices, network interfaces, and displays by loading the appropriate device drivers. After that, the root file system is mounted, giving the operating system access to files, libraries, and configuration data stored on disk. The next step is user space initialization, where the first process, often systemd or init, starts essential background services and daemons required for the operating system. Finally, the system reaches the system-ready state. At this point, all core services are running, and you're presented with a login prompt or graphical desktop, ready to launch applications. In summary, the boot flow is power on right pointing arrow bootloader right pointing arrow kernel load right pointing arrow kernel initialization right pointing arrow driver initialization right pointing arrow root file system mount right pointing arrow user space init right pointing arrow system ready. Every Linux-based system, from servers and desktops to embedded devices and routers, follows this sequence to transform powered-on hardware into a fully operational operating system.